so some of these holes actually disappear, so you basically have to look for them. Yeah, so there's one last thing I like to do with these is you cut them in half. And the reason I do this is it makes it easier to basically to do this, to do that, and then pull them out. If they weren't like that, it would be really hard to pull this out of the cement. So by doubling them up, you can put a screwdriver from the inside and just make it do this. And then all of a sudden it's the diameter is a lot smaller and you can pull it out. So I'm going to do this to all of them. Yeah, so I'm going to make an upside down planter. These are actually in the market. I have seen them. So these upside down planters, I'm going to use different diameter pipes to make it a little bit more interesting for the video. So I start off with the biggest diameter and I put it on the bottom. And I fill it in with some nice sand. Try not to miss it. Get it all into the middle. So this is how it starts off. Okay, there's this. Now we got to start to mix some cement to get this to work. I got a little bit of spillage. Okay, so that's the starting point. There's going to be cement going around here, and obviously this will be open for topsoil to go in and we can plant it. So we have our sandstone mix here for the concrete. And this time around I'm going to add some cement color. And the reason I'm doing that, just so we have something a little bit different. All the planters I make are quite light color, but I'm going to make a darker one. This is like a coffee color. And I'm going to see, my suspicion is that I might not need a lot of water in this because it's quite, the sand is quite wet already. So I'm just going to start mixing it up and see what happens. It's always good to do that so you don't make too wet of a mix. Yeah, getting the color into the sand and stone mix. That looks a bit dispersed. This is 12 shovelfuls of sand and gravel. So I got to match it up with 3 shovelfuls of cement. Definitely going to need a bit of water. I'm going to start mixing this now. You see how it's wrapping around the blade? So I got my cement ready. Here it is. I've got this set up. All I need to do is come in. Yeah, I almost made a boo-boo. I forgot I have to grease this guy up with some cooking oil. That was a close call. I would have never gotten this planter out. Wow, that was a real close call. I forgot about it altogether. You can see it changes the color of the plastic. And it's important to get this lip too, because if you don't get the lip, it sticks like crazy to the lip. Just regular cooking oil is great. Don't spend a lot of money on it. Buy the cheapest one. Okay, now I'm ready. I hold this in place. Okay, this might look odd to you now. I'm going to start filling with more sand outside of the ring because it's too thick. Okay. So I have lots of videos on this sand fill method, which is, in my opinion, the best to make planters. Okay, now I'm going to start with 4 of these guys. and you tilt them so they line up perfectly with the planter in the geometric shape. Make sure you do it right. I'm going to have all the cuts on the bottom. I think that'll be easier to pull out. Have them all in the same spot. Okay, now fill again. Oh, I'm going to do these guys. 4 of them. Same way. Okay, so you can see the pattern there. So let's go again. I'm going to put cement on top of each one and push it against the wall. Just to keep it in place. And it's mostly important to have these on the top. If you go down below, it's quite low. It's better to have the visual on the top. And in a sec, I'm going to push it into the sides here. Just give me a sec. Okay, so now I'm going to fill this up with sand, believe it or not. As you can see, the sand's going inside the pipe. I'm going to push it right against the wall. Fill these guys right up so it gets the weight. There you go. And when I have the weight in it, I can start knocking. Okay, so now I'm going to knock around the edges so it fills in. This mix is just a little bit more runny, just because I need it to get around the pipes. And fill up at the same level all the way up. Okay, I'm ready for more sand. Try to avoid getting any sand on the wet cement. Now what I do is always push towards the edge with the sand, because what it does is it makes the thickness of the planter thinner. Yeah, so now here it's getting a lot more upright. It's almost 80 degree angle here compared to let's say 65 below. So I'm going to go again. No, sorry, I was here before, so I'm going to go here. 1. Here, 2. I'm going to put the cuts down again. My mistake. Push them into the wet cement a little bit so they're leaning the right way. This guy seems a bit high. I'm going to push it a bit more. Okay, there's 4. So now I'm going to go 2 inside each of both of them here, inside each space. So 1, got a little bit of a knit bit here. 1, 2, 3. And you already know what's going to happen is these little receptacles are going to have succulents or plants inside them that are going to grow out of the side of the planter. Just check if they're the right height. I'm basically happy here with this because this is the last set of plastic pipes that I'm going to put inside here. So I'm going to start again. Bit of cement just to hold it in place, and so I can push it back against the planter, the plastic container. Make sure you're pushing the pipe right against the plastic frame. Okay, so everything's burrowed in. Now I got to start filling in some sand again. Here goes the sand again. You get the concept, how this is slowly working its way up. Okay, I'm gonna film it when I'm back up to here. I get a lot of complaints that the inside of the planter is very rough. They want me to put a piece of plastic here. I'll be very honest, I prefer the absolute roughness because the roots have somewhere to grab onto and to exchange moisture, to take moisture, and to give away moisture when it's too wet. So that's why I have the insides incredibly rough. It works really well for me because when I try to take these planters out, it's next to impossible to get the plant out because the roots have attached themselves to the concrete. Try to fill up at the same height at the same time. Makes a big difference when you do that. Okay, we're gonna have to make another batch. See how I'm pushing the cement thinner on the walls of the planter? You can exaggerate this a little bit to use less material. Still is super strong. Okay, always try to knock in between so you get a nice skin on the planter against the plastic. Okay. So just to make this more confusing for people, believe it or not, these are the drainage holes. So this is what's going to sit on the ground, and these openings are going to be filled up with plants, and it's going to drape against the planter. That's what's really nice about these, that draping process. Okay, so we're going to finish off the top. Make sure these drainage holes go all the way through. Let your hands have a built-in level. Make sure to use it. So you'll never see this again. This is going to be sitting on a patio or your deck or wherever. Okay, the only last thing I like to do, there's two last things I like to do, is I like to do this. And what it does is it just sucks out a little bit of the moisture and protects it from the sun. And it's an actual very nice finish. Okay, so that's the one thing I do. And then the other thing I do is I come around with a trowel and I make this edge. And this process makes it a lot easier to get the planter out. It just has a little bit of a disconnect, and it doesn't go over the edge, which makes it really stick. So you loosen this up a bit, not too much, not too deep, just enough so you have that separation. And that's it. So tomorrow all you have to do is wait till the evening. We're going to take this out and film the process of planting it, and that'll give you a really good idea on how to make these upside down planters with lots of different entrances for plants and succulents to be planted inside. Yeah, it's 16 hours later and it's time to demold this so I can plant it and show you what it looks like. Here's the sand on top. Yeah, when you hit this, it makes a noise, and you know it's loose. There it is. And you can see how effective this grease really does work. You need that greased up, otherwise you're not getting that out. Okay, so now I've got to clean all this up. Okay, so we're going to clean this up, and then we're going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to get some of these tubes out and show you how I do that. So some of these holes actually disappear, so you basically have to look for them, clean them up. I'm going to push this tube out, basically hammer it equally. Since it's cut, it'll come out really easily. And there you go. We're going to clean all this up, and then we're going to give you a good image of what this looks like. Yeah, so we got all the holes out. We made sure we didn't miss any. We're cleaning the inside a little bit more. We've burnt off all the polypropylene fiber. So we're going to find a final resting spot for this, and we're going to plant it up, and we're going to make it look really beautiful. ¿Cómo falta una más? Sí. Listo.